Hello again, everybody. Great to have you along yet again as we talk to you with a little edition of Coming Together. Yes, sir. Kathy, Scott, coming together, but with some great thoughts to share with you. Today we're talking about human intelligence. And for those of you that missed our last program, we talked about empathy, connection, and compassion. Well, now we're going to really kind of add on the other components. There are 6 more that we're going to share with us. The first one is, share with all of you, the first one is love. And you say, oh, my gosh, Scott, I know what love's all about. But what we're going to do is share a little something with you that you probably have not heard, and that's one of the chapters in my new book. I've created a book called Rhyme Has Reason, and I've got about 125 words from courage to commitment to character to kindness, courtesy, respect, integrity, honesty, and taken 3 verse poems and put them all together. So we're going to just take those little 3-verse poems and share with you some of the other words that we just shared with you when it comes to human intelligence and really what it is all about and how you can make it a part of your life every single day. I'm going to start here with love, a little something that these are just poems that I've created. There's only 3 verses, but I think it kind of gets to the point about what these different words represent and what they really should mean in our life. Love is defined as follows. It says, love is defined as a human experience with attachments, affection, and care. As one experiences and enhances the connection, both parties begin to share. It's a learning experience that begins with friendship and commences with the first knock on the door. Then, companion love is next in line with deep affection, trust, and more. Then sharing their love through emotions and intimacy, a connection of commitment like doves, an unconditional bond between family members and friends with care and trust is all love. Love can be expressed in very many ways, such as benevolence, friendship, and admiration. Passion, commitment, unity, and interconnectedness create a loving imagination. The perfect 10 lovable C words could eventually be your fate, from courage to commitment, connection to capability, and compatibility with confidence could be your date. Add character and compassion, closeness and consistency, and cherish all you can do. Love has many hats, as you'll quickly discover, so let's hope that it all comes true. Take it away, my friend.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Thank you much.
Yeah, so that's a beautiful articulation and interpretation.
What love is all about.
Yeah, it's very, very beautiful. And when it comes to leadership, love is we're not talking about romantic roses and flowers and dining and such, though those things are important in our personal lives. But when it comes to love in a corporate culture, it's about really having a deep sense of reverence and appreciation for human life, for all of life. And when you approach your leadership through the language of love and that lens of having appreciation for all the people that you serve, all of the people who work for you, and the ones that you collaborate with, your partners in other industries, etc. Having a disposition and attitude and mindset of love, first and foremost, it really gets rid of any anger issues, any upset.
Animosity between people. Yes.
Because you're really looking at the people through the lens of love.
And coming together, as the name of the show indicates.
Precisely. I mean, that's the whole reason that one of the main reasons we decided to come together and talk about this with Think Virtues and Leadership America, because it's such an important topic that we really overlook because we take for granted. And things that we take for granted, love, just like every other muscle, atrophies when not flexed and used and such. So I think that when it comes to our human intelligence, so we talked about the first 3 in our other episode, but now that we're going deeper, I think love is really the place to begin because it really gives rise to such beautiful things. Other virtues, as we might say, is forgiveness. Forgiveness is a very important value system or virtue to adopt in a work environment, because inevitably, we talked about in our last episode how we're all imperfect. We all make mistakes, and that's okay. That's part of human experience. And sometimes our mistakes hurt other people. And by learning to easily forgive people, be quick to forgive, doesn't condone the behavior, doesn't mean that you don't have to have a side conversation with the person who hurt you or whatever.
And those side conversations are most important.
Very much so. You can, always in private, you want to always give feedback, especially if it's negative.
Well, it shows you're the bigger man and woman that you want to make it right.
Absolutely.
You just don't leave it and the heck with them.
Yeah, and forgiveness has two, it takes two to tango. You have to ask for forgiveness. I'm really sorry. After reflecting on our conversation yesterday, I said a couple things that just it didn't come from my heart.
Right. In hindsight, I got thinking about it.
Yeah, I was reactive. I was stressed. I was overwhelmed, and I said a couple things I shouldn't have. I did it. So these things are all important. So forgiveness is a very, very important virtue to practice and have as part of the corporate culture. We don't talk about it. I think that most of the time, and it doesn't have to be on posters, and posted anywhere. It's just about an attitude of really understanding our humanity.
Forgiveness and apology have kind of disappeared from our vocabulary.
Yeah,
people just don't do it. Get out of here. Not my problem.
Yeah, and it's really a good opportunity to connect. It's a good opportunity to take the relationship to the next level, because it's you really start to have an elevated sense of the person who comes to you and says, you know what, I'm really sorry, and then you coming back and saying, I forgive you. Oh, I forgive you. Thank you for that.
And what does that show? That shows respect.
That shows respect. That shows that you're really operating from your higher self, and it makes relationships better.
And that gets us to our next word.
Yes.
When you talk about love, the next of the additional 6 that we added when we talk about human intelligence is respect.
Respect, yeah.
So I've got a poem on that too. So let's that goes something like this. Respect is a word that we've lost in our world to simply be courteous and kind. It's so sad because it's so easy unless you're just rude and resigned. Disrespect is what often arrives when someone is unhappy with life. Matters not what the issue or whom they're addressing. They live in a life of strife. We should always address folks, be it friend or foe, with kindness as we speak. Be it parents or classmates, workmates or teammates, simply don't make it bleak. Respect involves accepting people, who they are or simply might be. So even though their opinions might differ, show dignity to both he and she. It's not often easy if the person you're addressing is rude and downright wrong. You be the trooper and rise from the disagreements and always simply stay strong. Be it feelings or rights or wishes or traditions, respect is admired by all. Whether agreeing or not with those you are conversing, forever respect and stand tall.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's respect is we expect respect a lot of times, and it's as we should. And again, each one of these virtues that we're talking about, we need to address it to ourselves: self-respect, self-forgiveness, self-love. These are all very, very important to learn to address. I like to begin my mornings with the language of my heart, which is all the virtues that I hold dear to me, that are important, that I value. And I think that it's really an important process for everyone to go through, every leader certainly, to ascertain what are the virtues I value most.
Right.
What's important to my heart? What's important for what I'm trying to do and accomplish in the world?
Do you do that every day when you get up?
Yeah, that's what I one of the
kind of gets the day started in the right direction.
Exactly. I practice and I highly recommend a practice called contemplative meditation, where it becomes part of your day.
Contemplative meditation.
I
like that.
Yeah. So you instead of just silencing the mind, you hook the mind on certain topics: love, kindness, empathy, and compassion for self and others. Viewing and what is it that you want to? How do you want your day to go? And expecting good things to happen. That kind of gets the mind pattern in a way that serves us. We are in a better mood. We just have an elevated sense.
Your whole day becomes better.
It's elevated immediately, right from the start. And when you start to do contemplative meditation, you start to see that it becomes part of your day, that it becomes part of your thought process throughout the day.
It becomes part of you.
It becomes a part of you, and you're instead of self-deprecating, instead of self-criticizing, and which turns to criticizing others, you're giving yourself love, and you're showing up with love, and you're extending love to others. So it really becomes a mind pattern when you habituate it, when you routinize something like this. So I think that it's really important for leaders to really tune in, dial in their virtues, and practice them on a daily basis, beginning with a contemplative meditation, as well as showing up in the truth of who you are, because our virtues are the truth of who we are.
Oh, absolutely.
They're the building blocks of our human intelligence, and the more we recruit them and use them, the bigger the muscles get, the more our minds start to shift from that of negativity and noticing. And suddenly you start to realize that as you're driving down the road, people who are driving a little bit, erratic, don't really trigger us, because we're looking at it through the filter of, love and forgiveness
and trust
and
me,
empathy.
that happens every day.
Of course, especially when you live in Dallas or Chicago, places where traffic is
a little busy at times, like 24/7.
Exactly. So, so it's instead of road rage, we experience, we have a whole different experience when driving, giving people grace. Oh, maybe this person really needs to get someplace, and maybe I need to get out of their way instead of, not allowing to pass us, for example.
Well, you've just gone on to the third of the three that we're about to share, the kindness, right?
Yeah.
How to be kind. All right. So here's the poem on that. Being kind is key in the world that we all live. Friendly and helpful, always ready to give. It's all about caring with deep-seated concern. Thoughtful and considerate is what we all should learn. Selfish and inconsiderate is too often the case, both men and women often out of place. It's all about them and the distaste they have for others, instead of being compassionate like good sisters and brothers. Patient and understanding is the way we all should be. Compassion, selflessness, and empathy are all certainly key. Love and understanding, those are the ultimate signs. Consideration for others will always make you kind.
Yeah, love that.
For sure.
Love that. Yeah, I think so. I think that it's kindness is another amazing virtue in a workplace. As leaders, approaching the world, the work week, again, to ourselves first, and then to everyone we come in contact with. At the grocery store, being kind to the people who help us, being kind to the register, at the register with the cashier who's doing a good job of putting our groceries patiently in the bag, and just as a part of living life, and kindness, courtesy, integrity, and honesty, and those kinds of virtues. Of course, a lot of people value integrity. Very important. It's the strength of who we are. It's being dedicated to integrity versus self-righteousness is really important in leadership, because a lot of us as leaders, we get stuck. We've done things over and over again and they've been successful, and we think that is the way. But I think having an attitude of integrity versus righteousness gives us the ability to see things differently.
Well, you talk about courtesy. Let me move, and you just mentioned integrity. Let me mention integrity here. A little poem on integrity goes as follows. Beginning each day can be a challenging task, so always make certain the goodness will last. Forever focused on integrity, and certainly always be true, with strong moral principles in everything that you do. All too often in the world we live, we meet people who simply aren't honest, despite what they say or often do, or maybe even promise. Lying and cheating and countless acts of deception is not the way to be. Deceitful and dishonest, with bountiful objections, just try it and you'll see. Instead, we need those who are respectful, always truthful and kind, even though such honesty is often tough to find. Truthful, trustworthy, and transparent is the person we need to be, and the kind of folks to surround ourselves from sea to shining sea.
Love that. Love that. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, I think that integrity in leadership, it really shows up best when the leader is committed to truth, not being right.
Yeah, and that brings you to the last one, which is honesty.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
Yeah, so I think that integrity and honesty go hand in hand, but being always committed to the truth, trying to find out the truth and be willing to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not about being right. It's about doing the right thing, and the right thing sometimes may not be the way we do it. You know, and that I have learned the hard way. A lot of times when you've done a lot of research and development, you kind of get stuck in a pattern of thinking, and you think that, okay, this is the way, but being open and flexible and committed to integrity of the work, the truth, the people you serve, will really go a long way, because that's what we're after. We're after the truth. We're not after being right. Because when you
exactly
get,
right.
you know, being right puts us in a position where we really hold the rope, dig our heels in a positionality that really separates. It creates conflict. It keeps you stuck, and really breeds negativity. Whereas if you're committed to the truth, if you're committed to integrity, then you're open and not flexible to the point where you're jumping on every bandwagon, but committed to the truth means that you want to really get to the bottom of what is true. And that takes a certain amount of due diligence on a leader and leadership. But that's a critical component of leadership. And leaders who are committed to the truth find that they have to stay open, growth-minded, and really doing their due diligence in any situation to find out the truth, not their truth. Which
Right.
is, a lot of times people think that, oh, I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
Well, that's not really being honest. Being honest is really being open to possibility of being wrong.
Understand. Well, I tell you what, let me share the poem on honesty then and see how that fits.
All right.
Honesty is key to all that we do, every single day from your seat. It's a moral character, that trait of life. You'll not lie, steal, or cheat. You must forever share frankness and openness and always live with great truth, not spread rumors and falsity, and forever be forced to have proof. Being sincere, open, and honest will help you build great trust, not spreading rumors, because truthful is a must. Dishonesty is just the opposite, contributes to social discourse, shame, regret, embarrassment, and guilt, and always great remorse. So keep it straight and honest and truthful 100%. Then you aren't embarrassed and claim that's not what I really meant. Honesty is as good as it gets, a core ethical principle. So keep it straight and always honest, and you'll forever be invincible.
That's very, very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. One of the things I wanted to mention, because whenever you talk about virtues and morality and values, the problem that arises is the whole virtue signaling. And I think that is something that a lot of us hear and we dislike. And that's not what thinking virtues is all about. Thinking virtues is an introspective process of really dialing in what's important to you and why, and understanding that people are imperfect, we're imperfect, so we're not here to virtue signal, and also there's a problem in our society today where people have a sense of moral superiority. And there's nothing that separates people more than that, where they think that their sense of morality supersedes another. And that is a big mistake. That is what avoids people coming together. It's really a blocker to connection and unity. And so we need to realize that whenever we take any kind of superiority position, it's probably wrong.
Understandable.
Because virtues are personal. We agree, but a lot of times the definition even of a particular virtue differs from person to person, depending on what religion you were raised in.
So we agree to disagree.
Exactly. And so you agree to try to understand, not necessarily just leave it at disagreement, but really lean in and try to understand the other person's understanding, definition of whatever their virtues are, because that's just as valuable. Because you may learn a few things. I've learned so much by listening to people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different countries, and different upbringings. People's house cult. Our home environment and culture is different. Everybody has different traditions.
Totally understand.
Some of the stuff is we have in common, but there's a lot of things we don't. And different virtues mean different things in different cultures. And respecting that, especially in diverse communities and corporate culture, the bigger you get, the more chance of you having people from different cultures. So it's really important to not only ascertain the virtues and understand that your definition of it is holds no higher value than another.
Right.
So
right.
it's just leaving it as, these are just things, and this is my definition, this is how I describe it, this is how I live it.
Right.
And then hear another person's expression of that virtue. What does love mean to them? I think we should do a different episode on all the different meanings of love
Totally
that
understand.
Greeks
Yeah.
have articulated
Right.
so beautifully. I have virtue cards written on that.
Okay.
Different expressions of love. But I think it's important to realize that our morality doesn't supersede others, but we do need to understand one
Right.
another and have a friendly conversation and learn not to try to change the other person's mind or to say, to walk away thinking that we didn't get anything accomplished, but that connection is really important
Right.
and part of our human intelligence.
Right. Well, let me wrap it up. Human intelligence is what we've been talking about, and the last one is leadership. And our final poem, leadership. Think about it. Leadership, leadership, leadership. The key to all we do. The ability to influence, guide those at hand, and always keep it true. Create a vision and set obstacles and objectives, moving forward with your plan. Truthfully leading while you motivate, others doing all you can. Be it lead, guide, or influence, leadership has many hats. Can be affected by the leader's gender, almost like a dog and a cat. Women are often underrepresented and lessened in the amount of pay, while scholars have instead found women more qualified than men each day. Yes, how about that? So it matters not the sex you are, instead how flexible you be. Be tactful, extroverted, flexible, and friendly. That is certainly key. Truthful, trustworthy, and transparent, the way you truly must be. Looking to create great leaders through a culture of civility.
Love that. Love that. And I think that one of the other things we want to mention to our listeners and viewers is that we're here to have start a conversation in leadership about these particular states of being. And we're not lecturing, we're not preaching.
We're coming together.
We're coming together, having conversations about things that I think that it's important for us to contemplate, talk about, think about, because it elevates our human experience. It elevates every aspect of our lives, our connections, our relationships, our
Who
health.
we are, what we're all about.
Our health and vitality, how you wake up in the morning is really impacted on whether you wake up with an attitude that's filled with gratitude, about the people in your life versus thinking of, their shortcomings or things that they did to upset us, for example. So it really, we want to have, I think that one of the things that is important about coming together and what you and I have talked about so many times, just you and me, about what we want to do with this podcast and this show is really start leaders thinking and talking and contemplating about things that are dear to themselves, visceral, and things that they have been craving and wanting deep down inside and didn't know exactly how to put it into words.
Yep, how to get there.
Yeah, and so we want this to really be a powerful, empowering, elevating experience for people, not to think that you and I are sitting here virtue signaling and telling them what they should do. It's just another iteration. I think you and I've been writing and reading about virtues for years, since college. And
so at least 3 years ago.
At least. And, and so it's always fascinated me how lifted my spirit was every time I got done reading about them and stuff
Absolutely.
like that. So we want to share that elevated feeling. I think leadership is very tough. It's going to get tougher and tougher because everything is moving so fast with innovation and changes in artificial intelligence and so many other things. I think that leaders need all the uplifting we can get, right?
Absolutely. But it is possible. So don't give up.
Absolutely.
There's hope. There is hope.
There's hope.
And that's why we're all coming together. And thus the name of the program, Coming Together. So on behalf of Kathy, I'm Scott. Till next time, stay safe, be well, and remember the true meaning of all the words we've just shared with you. Take the time, look them up. You'll understand what we're talking about. But in the meantime, let's all come together.